Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to deal with some sounds, and then following that, maybe do something with the boulders and the trigger, and then I'll switch to another level where there will be some monsters, um, and we'll have to deal with connecting the levels up a little bit differently because of inserting a level isn't automatic with this since we have a next level. Where are we here? The next level code just says go to the ending. So this is something that you need to be aware of um, when you're adding new scenes to a game in the middle. Um, it's going to have to be, each scene has to be tied together um, as you break the chain and make a bigger chain of scenes together. Okay, so um, for playing a sound, I think I said this before. I created a variable, and it may not make entirely a huge amount of sense why I have to have some kind of sound variable, but hopefully it will once we're done. The idea is I want a way to track this kind of custom behavior of playing a sound when the player's walking, and that means attempting to walk into a wall fails as walking and there's no sound. So in the beginning, I'm not sure if I'm going to walk or not. So that's where I will do the global variable of false. So the interpretation here of this custom variable, play walk sound, when it's false, I don't want to play a sound. Okay, so at the beginning of every scene, or at the beginning of the scene, they pause this, and then every step, every 60th of a second, they're going to run all of this code, and we'll start out with this change the scene variable to false. Now, if you do up, down, left, or right, well, that means we get to change that. We're probably going to play a sound, but we won't know for sure until a little later. So in every direction, there needs to be a copy of this. So we're going to play the walk sound up until this happens. So then we're going to go back, and during the collision situation, we want this to be false. Okay, so now that's done. Finally, we can put in a new action just following this one. Um, and we could just move this up so it's a little visually connected here. So what we're saying now, it could be true or false, but when it's true, this play walk sound um, will allow us to, we have to do the global again. When it's true, under that condition, we will perform the action of audio, play a sound. And so we'll add a new audio file. Where is the walk sound? I guess it's kind of a noise sound. I renamed it walk, but it really is just kind of a shuffling of the feet. Okay, so I'll just use the defaults and let's see what this is like. So now I'm going to move. Actually, I just went underneath the hole. I have to fix that. The Z order is not matching the order of my objects. There's no sound when I go into this vertical wall. There's a couple of sounds here, and then up, no sound. I can't go to the right. How about this boulder? Yeah, and I can test that temporary wall. That's probably a better test, actually, to test every single thing in here at least once. Yeah, the temporary wall is no sound there. Okay, so that's how you control whether or not a sound is played. There's got to be some kind of made-up variable that you assign an initial value. True, false is usually really good, and that most languages have that built into the language. Here we had to make a global true and false. And so as the player was pressing one of these keys, the play walk sound went from false to true in all four of these cases. It went back to false when there was a collision with the wall, and then we have this. So now I think I want to organize this. This is starting to get unwieldy, and I want to, where is this? Add, where do we group things together here? A group. That is it. Okay, so the group name here would be main. Player movement logic. Temp wall removal logic. So these are, I mean, I could go on with a list of things in here. This is going to go up at the top, and anything that I indent is going to be grouped. I think that would be good to stop there. And I want to change this later, so let me put this in its own group, which is next level logic. And I'm just going to make sure that this mechanism is working like I think. That's not done yet. Okay. Let's go back and do some more things. Okay, so next I want to add some objects temporarily to the game which are going to test the capabilities of the bomb going off. So when the bomb goes off, let's say we'll have the capability of getting rid of spider, ghost, and the boulders. And the other boulders and spiders and ghosts, they're just going to stay wherever they are and keep doing what they're doing. And so I'm thinking of like a tic-tac-toe pattern around the bomb will be, um, something I can work with to um, for test purposes. Um, why don't we move this to the corner? Or actually, even better, move it over here so there'll be some back and forth movement. I don't know, I'll just put this here and let's put a temp wall, I guess, there, such that they get a sense that a lot of things happen when they collect all the diamonds. Let's maybe delete that one. Okay, so these are temporarily there. Oh wait, did I lose my goal? There's a list of objects here. I think yes, you can type in there to test whether or not that's um, missing. Okay, so the goal was supposed to be there. Okay, so I can't. I can't have that one there. There we are. Can't have that one there. Press delete. That's not deleting. There we are. Okay, so let's say there's, well, let's just leave this for testing. If there's a bomb there and it goes off, it's supposed to delete a bunch of objects, but I'll just put I guess another ghost over here and a spider. This is beyond the tic-tac-toe area around the bomb. We have a clear path to all the diamonds, and we can move this later. So for testing purposes, again, I'm going to just move that there. So we're going to make some code to have the tic-tac-toe area around the bomb, delete those types of objects. And okay, I'm going to make a group. And this group is going to be for the bomb logic. And I guess we can make an event. All the events here are going to be part of that. So let's do the condition of when the person has a collision with the trigger. And then we want this to be ignore objects that are touching but not overlapping. So that's the point at which we play a sound. And that's under audio. And I think you'll need to add new audio to get that explosion into there, into that group. So I'm just going to go with the defaults. So that gives the player feedback that the event happened. So the next thing to do is that trigger, so we don't keep triggering the event, we we're going to delete that. It's kind of like a collectible object. Okay, so, and I'm only going to have one trigger in the game. I want to keep things simple, or one trigger in the scene. So then the next thing to do would be I'm going to have a couple of things to deal with the bombs. So there can be more than one bomb. And first we'll do a scale. And so for a tic-tac-toe board, from going from 1 square to 3 by 3 squares, that would be a scale of times 3. And I'll show you what happens. Actually, we can just run this now. Let's cancel this for a moment. What's going to be off is the XY coordinate of the corner of that bomb. This bomb needs to go to this upper left area where the first of the 3 ghosts are there. So, yeah, if the bomb is kind of going down, that's not good. I need that consistent XY location. So with the bomb, I'm going to move it to an XY position, which is minus 32 and minus 32 in the X and Y coordinates. Can I just scroll down? There we are. Subtract 32. I'm not in the right thing. Subtract 32. Okay, so now I can see the bomb area. Yeah, it got bigger and stayed where it needed to stay. So this, that's what happens when you scale something. It scales with respect to some origin point, which is usually the upper left-hand corner. Okay, so now that that's really large, I'm not really going to leave it there. I mean, maybe there could be a way that you could add a delay and it stays large. The sound went off, and for simplicity, I'm just going to see if the bomb collides with boulders, ghosts, and spiders and individual events. And if they do, then the boulders go away, the ghosts go away, the spiders go away. Then I'm going to delete the bomb. And in order to do this, I'm actually going to have to slide this over a little bit such that it only happens after all of these 4 things happen. That's what that means when you take a condition action combo there, an event, and indent it underneath an event. So that's like a sub-event, really. So what happens here is I'm going to first look at the bomb, collision with, and I'll just pick the boulder. Ignore objects that are touching but are not overlapping. And that means I'm going to delete the boulder. And by doing it during a collision, I'm only deleting the touching boulder. Okay, so I can, I believe, do Control C, Control V, and now I can modify this. Let's do the ghost next. There we are. Okay, so that's what I want for boulders and ghosts. One more thing to do would be spiders. Let me click below there, Control C, Control V, looking to change that to a spider. And a spider for that as well. Okay, so I could test that out. I do want to do one more thing though, because um, what do you call it? No matter whether or not there are monsters and boulders that go away, I want no condition here, and I'm going to select the bomb object, and that's when I delete it. So once it's in that large state, I don't really want the player to see it. I mean, maybe I could fiddle with that later, but I'm just going to delete it so it doesn't mess up the game area. And there is explosion animation, which you know, if you wanted to continue working on this, you could put it in somewhere in here and create a new object at this right before you delete the bomb. You could put a, I guess it would be a 96 by 96 pixel explosion area with some sort of delay where it deletes itself after a certain amount of time. Okay, so I think that could be tested right there. Okay, so I'm looking for almost all of these to go away, but there'll be like one spider, one ghost, and one boulder over here. Yeah, okay. So that is working pretty good. So I think there needs to be some more work here though. I've got, well, I want to take this, one thing I need, as I messed with the order, the Z order of all these objects, I set it up where now I have to take this avatar and make it where it's, I'm going to put 1,000 there for Z order, so it's just in front of everything. It really ought to be behind any kind of text, but if I go up here, I'm on top of the hole. Okay, so the hole, the monsters, the ghosts and the spiders, that ought to do something in the game, kind of like a restart. So let's do that up here. Let's add an event and bring that up and over. Okay. So let's say the person is in collision with actually this is okay to do. We'll start off with the hole, but then we'll make it more advanced logic. Ignoring objects that are touching but not overlapping. So this is a bad thing. The person goes down the hole. I would say the penalty is that you lose the points. So we're going to set the score to 0 and then play a sound to indicate that was wrong and restart this scene. So I need to go to my global variables actually here. And we're just going to say that's going to be 0. You know, you could actually add some score changes when they blow up the monster if you wanted to do that. But I want to keep it simpler. So I'll just use diamonds for the score. If you mess up with the hole, then you lose all the score. Then we're going to add an audio action to give some feedback. Let's play a sound. Choose new audio file here of try again. And this was kind of a weird sound that I made in Beatbox, and it sounds um, kind of sad and goofy all at once, so not all that serious. And then we want to restart the scene. So let's sure, we can stop any other paused scenes. Okay, so let's see what happens here. I'm not sure why it's doing that explosion. That's a quirk. Try again ought to not have an explosion sound. Okay, well I'll dig more into that later. I want to test this again. Let's say I run into a monster. Okay, so in order to add those features, I've got to change this here. And of course there's no code for that, but I just wanted to highlight what I was looking for. So I don't know quite how to do this. I think I first have to add this other condition, advanced OR. And then I reorder this. I drag that there. And then I did a copy and paste, so I have a couple of those. And that is where, whoops, the ghost I think I lost that. Okay, the ghost and the spider they all ought to work now for restarting the scene. I'm going to do the spider first. Okay, I don't hear an explosion. That seems good. And then this also. So there's probably if you're on the hole and you go up, it might restart and you're holding the key to bring it up. So maybe that's why the explosion sounded. So if I'm going up, yeah, I won't accidentally just run into that explosion thing. Okay, so I've got 3 different ways to lose temporarily, and then my score went to 0. Great. So the test seems pretty successful. I'm going to put these here and put this one here. Maybe put that there. And you can, I think, do Shift and click on a bunch of things and then delete them all at once. Whoops. It's really easy to click on the background. So maybe I'll add a boulder to indicate there's certain things you can't do, like walk through a boulder. Um, okay, so that is this level. Um, it's kind of introductory. Maybe I'll move this up here and just delete that. Or put it over here somehow. Sure. So my plan is to create another level that's like this one, and then a duplicate of this, but I'll delete the insides of it, and we'll make some monsters that are going, spiders, let's say, will go up and down and bounce off the walls, and ghosts will go left and right. So let's see here. What would be the way to do that, I guess, is let's do a duplicate of this and move this down and rename it. So I've just had created a little bit of a problem here. Where are we? Change the scene. We need to change to level 2 here. And then this new level, which looks identical, but we'll, just start deleting things. Whoops. I don't know how to undo that. I don't know why certain things are not undoable. Okay. Okay, so it is touchy with the mouse. Um, Maybe we'll do that just to keep things different. Okay, so we'll temporarily put the player there. So the problem here is now we're changing this to the ending, but if you mess up with a whole ghost or spider here, this has to be level 2. That's what I was getting at. Okay, so I think that will work just fine. So these levels are now separate, even though they look a lot alike. And I think the next step would be to let's plan for some ghosts to go left and right. Let's kind of, I don't know, how about that way? And then some spiders will go up and down. And I'm going to save here. So what I want to do next is change the objects here. Let's work with the spider first. I'm going to go to behaviors, click on that, and I want to add a bounce behavior. So that's not actually part of these installed behaviors. So I'm going to go to the search new ones, and the second one here is bounce. And so this is fine because we will use the forces that are built into the simpler way to move characters around. Physics engine would be more complicated. So let's install that in the project. And so if you go over here, installed behaviors, bounce is down there. Close that, and we'll apply. And let's see, we need to do that for the ghost as well. Add a behavior and bounce. Okay, I may have messed up over there. So behavior bounce is there. Let me back up. Spider, we're looking for behavior. Oh, no, I didn't do it. I meant to click on it. There it is. So the behavior bounce is there. So in this level, level 2, this will be a little bit different, where at the beginning of the scene, we're going to add an action where all ghosts are going to, let's say they move to the right. And so we will add a force angle. Which one of these? We're going at an angle of 0. And the speed I'm going to estimate is 240. Not too easy, not too hard. And it's permanent. And so then the angle for, well, we'll do a similar thing here where spiders will go up and down. So you need to copy that event, and the how would we switch that? Clicking on spider here. I think that's all that needs to happen. So I want them to go down. I believe in the upside down implementation that they have 90 degrees is down. And so let's run that and see what happens. Well, it's good, but I want some kind of bounce. So I'm going to need to put that in here. So that's at the beginning of the game, we have that going. We could just make a monster section. Why not do a group for monsters? Whoops. And there certainly could be more than 2 monsters. You could have different versions of the ghost and different versions of the spider, or just bring in some new artwork. But let's work with just a simpler version where let's say if the spider has a collision with, let's just use, whoa, I did not mean that. This is a mouse problem here. Let's just start off with this and ignoring objects that are touching but not overlapping. And then we want to click on the spider and then bounce off another object. Okay. I think I want to copy this. There we go. So if the ghost is in collision with the wall, hopefully this will be all we need to do. We just have to go and click on ghost, which it's hard to tell that you clicked on it, but then it comes up. Okay, so you could add a lot more collision things here. And let's say the ghost is going to fly over other types of walls, but the spider will not. So what would that look like? Well, first let's put in some, and this is not necessarily great game design. This would be just a choice. Oops, I'm on the wrong events. Level 2 events. This is just to see some difference and play around with it. And then later on you'll decide what's good. So if the spiders encounter, let's say there's a wall horizontal up here, and we'll put a corner here and somehow make a corner part of this level. And maybe there's a way to get to the exit. Not sure. Maybe something like that. So what else? I guess I could, well, that's probably, I guess boulders. Let's have a boulder here. So there's a safe place for the avatar to go underneath that boulder. Okay, so in that event, we're going to have to change this here. With the advanced OR, and then do some drag and drop where this right here becomes a sub condition, and then that, whoops, I'm trying to copy that. Oh, I guess I can't do that, because if I'm going to bounce the ghost off of the wall, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think I need one for each of these. That's unfortunate. Okay, so there maybe there's fancier ways to do that. Oh, I think I was talking about the spider as well. I'm sorry. Okay, let's make individual ones. So I think we need a horizontal wall, a corner, a temporary wall, a boulder. You could do vertical wall, but if it's going vertically, I'm not sure that would be important. So I guess temp walls next, and then boulder. So I would need a temp wall to test this. And just to make things interesting, we could kind of prove. I'll drag this one down. Prove that it's not the same for the ghosts. So let's see what happens. Yeah, the ghosts are going underneath that. That's a little bit of a problem. I want the ghosts to be floating on top. But then spiders are different. That's kind of fast for the monsters. But I think it's definitely playable. So in order to do that, the ghost needs to have, well, wait, the person's order here. Whoa. If I click on this, 1000. If I click on this, no, that's what's wrong here. I need that to be much lower. Alright, I'm shifting and clicking a bunch of objects here. I'm just going to make them all be way behind the avatar. And now that I have that, I think I can do this. Sometimes having problems deleting. Trying to delete this object here, and just moves around but doesn't do what I want. Okay, quirky. Alright, so I think that would be easy enough where I collect one diamond and I can get to the exit. So let's save this, make some mistakes first, and then play it correctly. So that does not protect the avatar. And if I go here, of course, this is safe right there. Okay, so you could do a lot more with your monsters and your testing. I'm going to go, I guess it's easy to avoid the ghosts, and then let's see if I can. Wow, I'm curious if I stand right here, what happens? Yeah, I might have to fiddle with that mask. That's interesting. Well, I might, let's take a look at that. Okay, so the whole game I think is all working. The hit mask is inside of that artwork for the person. So let's see here. Edit hitboxes. I'm not really clear. That is really small. They usually can give you an X, Y, and Z here. Oh, there we are. This is the problem. I've seen this before, where you're really going 0 to 31 because that is a total of 32 different pixels across, 32 different pixels down. So I don't see any problem with that. That looks very nice. Apply that. All the ghosts have to have the same treatment here. Yes, of course. It's down there and there. And the spider, the hitbox is needing to be... They do everything to create collisions where things are touching or almost touching or overlapping, and I'm looking to avoid that. I'm kind of going the other direction for the design of this because I'd like to have the avatar be able to be in a dangerous place, like right here or even there. And that's not a problem now that I made the hitboxes 0 to 31 in all directions. So I ought to be able to go up, and that's working. Yeah. Okay, so that's another necessary tweak. I'm glad I bumped into that. Okay, so that is plenty that you could have multiple levels with different types of walls with different types of challenges. You could add a wall vertical bounce for that spider monster. I'm not sure how you would have that. I guess it's possible that you could tweak some of this monster code very, very simply by changing that number. I'll just do this. I don't really recommend it because then it can kind of change the elegance of the simple design. I would, if you're going to do that, maybe make a third monster. And there's, smaller monsters, bigger monsters, a lot of things. But I'm thinking this is plenty of things that you could combine where they have to maybe first blow up a bomb that they have to get by the monsters, and then they collect the diamonds, and then they can get access to a place. Or you can change the order of that, where the monsters are only at the end. So that's about it, and I hope you got everything working, and if not, you can certainly ask your instructor for help.